Welcome back to Bolt Action CP for battle report number 9. Tonight we got Steve and his Russians in a game of Demolition, 1200 points. Here's the board. The river is just going to be shallow, so difficult terrain. Bridge will be full speed. And then we'll go over the forces real quick. So on this side, I got my Americans. I got all veteran infantry. So a squad of engineers with a flamethrower, 2 squads of rangers with LMG, BAR, light howitzer, medic, second lieutenant, and half track isn't quite painted, finished being painted yet. Squad of paratroopers, LMG, regular truck, 2 regular medium machine gun jeeps, and a veteran 76mm M4A1 with a pintle mounted medium machine gun. That's it for the Americans. Now we'll go see what the Russians have.
Okay, today the Russians have their free 12-man squad. They have a medium mortar with an observer. They've got a second lieutenant, or senior lieutenant, and his henchman. They have a Siberian squad, veterans with tough fighters, submachine guns. I've got a light machine gun squad, they're regular. Then I have a veteran squad with light machine guns and a Panzerfaust, a second medium mortar, sniper, T-34-85, 2 trucks, a Katusha, and another senior lieutenant.
Alright, so those are the forces. Next we'll deploy, and we'll come back after the deployment is over.
Thank you.
Alright, so here we are. Deployment is over. We each deployed half of our forces. I deployed 2 squads of rangers who both did their ranger move. They went into the building. They advanced into these ruins. I deployed 1 machine gun jeep, the Sherman, the light howitzer, and the medic. And Steve deployed 1 squad there, medium mortar, spotter in the ruins, another medium mortar, and a truck in a squad. And he still has all these guys in reserve: Katusha, truck, tank, a couple squads, lieutenant. And for me in reserve, I have my engineers, and the officer will be coming in track, machine gun jeep, and the paratroopers in a truck. So that's it for deployment, and we'll be back after the end of turn 1. Alright, turn 1 is over. So in this turn, we only had half our forces on, the rest in reserve, so it wasn't a lot of movement. The main thing that happened was the Sherman drove up and fired an AT round, destroyed the truck, which he wound up losing his lieutenant and 3 Siberians in the explosion. The Siberians ran into that building after that. And he also fired his bow machine gun at that mortar over there and put a pin on him. And his pintle mount he fired at the inexperienced and missed. That Russian mortar over there fired on my light howitzer, missed, and then he returned fire and missed, so they each have a marker trying to range in on each other. This ranger squad advanced up into these ruins and fired at that mortar team that was there, put a pin on them. They decided to move, so they passed the order and moved back. Meanwhile, the inexperienced squad moved up, fired, actually got a hit on needing a 7, and put a pin on him. Then my machine gun jeep drove up, fired on the mortar, and put a pin on him. And these guys actually killed one of the mortar crew earlier. My ranger squad advanced. They're still in there, and put him on ambush. And that was about it. So the Sherman, the veteran Sherman with the gyro stabilized gun, needing a 3 after moving, so it's pretty deadly. So we'll see what happens now when he brings in his tank. So there'll probably be some tank combat. and probably some more indirect fire artillery barrage here. So that's it for turn 1. So in this next turn, reserves will start coming in, and we'll see what happens at the end of turn 2. Turn 2 is now over. Had quite a bit of action in this turn, especially on this side of the board. The tough fighters, or the Siberians that were in that squad, after that truck got blown up by the Sherman, charged this full 9-man squad of Rangers and wiped them out. They lost 3 guys, so they're down to 3 guys, but they did clear the building of Rangers, and no one over here, no Americans. My reserves, I had some failed reserve rolls with my engineers, my officer, half-track, and the Jeep. So right now, it's all Russia on this side. They got a squad of guys in there. They took a couple pins from the Rangers in here who were on ambush. And then immediately after that, they got assaulted and destroyed. In the middle here, the T-34 came on. Took a shot at the Sherman, missed. And he also fired his bow gun at the Rangers and missed. Then the Sherman decided to drive up, fired and missed. So they missed each other. The truck has the paratroops in it. They came on, truck ran up there. So they couldn't get out, but they're right there for now. Over here, the Jeep kind of zoomed around the edge here. Put a couple pins on, put a pin on the inexperienced squad, and immediately was killed by the regular LMG squad that came in and wiped them out. This Ranger squad and the medic just advanced across the road, put another pin, killed a few of those not irregulars, inexperienced guys. So that was that. Also, the Katyusha came on, fired into these and missed both times. And that's about it. The mortar fired on the Ranger squad and missed, so they moved, so he's gonna have to retarget. So that's it for turn 3. The Americans are pushing up on this side. Russia's got this side of the board by themselves right now. And I still got some reserves to come in, so alright, so that's it for turn 2, and we'll be back at the end of turn 3. Alright, turn 3 is over. I had some pretty major things happen here. Number 1 being Sherman destroyed by the T-34. HE shot, or AT shot right through, blew it up. Over here, my paratroopers and my Rangers advanced. I didn't know what to do. You know, I had my paratrooper in this truck and my tank got destroyed. I decided to just press the attack, so I've moved them up. They're both in pretty decent cover. My Rangers advanced point blank and wiped out that inexperienced squad, and they took a couple pins from the LMG squad and the officer. So they got 2 pins, and they're down 2 guys. So we'll see what happens. If they advance, I'll probably just keep firing on them. On this side, my half-track once again failed to come in. My Jeep did come in though, and put a pin on the truck. So they have, the truck has 2 pins and the squad inside has 2 pins, and they both failed their orders. And the Siberians in the house just took a down order. My light howitzer decided just to use his turn to rotate so he can get this side of the board. He can get range in on them, and the truck just backed up. So that was about it. The tank got destroyed. It was the main thing in this game, or in this turn. A couple squads of veteran infantry moving up. I have no answer for that tank right now, so there's not much I can do about it. And that's it. I still got a squad of engineers with an officer and a half-track to come in. Steve still has a sniper who can't seem to pass his order to come in, and truck and a squad and Siberians in there. So that's it for turn 3. Alright, turn 4 is over. We'll start over here on this side. This Ranger squad took a lot of fire. They got up to 4 pins now. That T-34 drove into those ruins, fired point blank. They took a down order, so they took a little bit less hits, but he sprayed them with all machine gun fire and put a pin on them. And then they took fire from that squad and the officer. So they got 4 pins now. Over here, the truck failed the order, but the squad inside passed, so they got out and ran over to here. And they had 1 pin, but then they took another pin from this Jeep, and my paratrooper squad turned around and fired and put another pin and killed 1 guy. So they've been collecting pins. They're back up to 4 pins now. My half track finally came in and immediately got destroyed by the Katusha. They actually caught on fire and they bailed out. So these guys jumped out, the engineers and the officer. They each took a pin. The Siberians, the 3 Siberians in there, fired point blank and missed, so they didn't get any more pins luckily there. My light howitzer tried to fire into the building and missed, direct fire, so that didn't help. I think that's about it. Oh, the Russian sniper finally came in, so he ran down the road. And I think that's it for turn 4. Things are moving pretty fast now. So on this side, these Rangers are about pinned out, and I still have this squad, which really has no chance because you can't get to the objective with that tank there. And that's about it. So turn 4 is now done, and we will be back at the end of turn 5. Alright, turn 5 is now over. Over here, start out over here. This squad had decided to rally and passed, and they lost. They were down to they still had 2 pin markers on them. My Jeep put another one on them, and then my Lieutenant Badass here ran up, killed 2 of them with a SMG from long range hardcover. My engineer squad roasted the 3 Siberians that were in there with the flamethrower and some SMG fire. My light howitzer fired direct fire on the LMG squad there and missed, so he hasn't done a whole lot. He did kill that mortar early in the game. I think I forgot to mention it. Back over here, the paratroops advanced up to the edge of the woods and killed the Russian mortar, and then the Rangers rallied, but they still had 2 pins left even after they rallied, and they took another one from the T-34, drove in with the bow machine gun and hosed them down, and then his coax put a pin on the paratroopers. And all the rest of the fire from Russians went onto the Rangers, and even after a rally, they are still at 3 pins now after all is said and done. The Russian sniper jumped in that truck that was there. Truck passed the order, and he drove up to here. So he's obviously planning on making a move at the end. So really, there's not much. That objective really isn't in play. We got 1 more turn, and then we'll roll for turn 7. So we'll see what happens now at the bottom of turn 6. Alright, so turn 6 is now over, and the game is over because we rolled for turn 7. And it's not happening, so neither one of us are touching an enemy base, so it's a draw. If it went to turn 7, there's a possibility these paratroopers like maybe could have made it and possibly survived, but it's doubtful. Paratroopers in turn 6 advanced out, fired on this SMG squad, killed a few. Then the T-34 machine gunned them, put a pin on them, killed a few of them. They're down to 4 guys. This squad, the Rangers, they had a bunch of pins and they tried to do an assault and failed the order on the officer. My light howitzer again fired on the veteran squad on the road there and missed. They missed. The only chance the Russians had was a sniper in this truck. My Jeep tried to take it out and missed. So my engineers decided to come over and they wound up killing the truck, destroying the truck, and then the sniper team died in the truck when it was destroyed. The Katyusha fired on my officer there, and he tried to drop a 6 on them and on the engineers and missed both of them. And that was really about it. Like I said, no one's in touching an enemy base, so no one wins this game. So draw.
Who's the MVP?
MVP? My MVP? Oh, who's your MVP?
Oh, MVP's got to be the T-34-85.
So T-34 for Steve.
The Sherman here was running around with impunity, making a mess of everything, and
He did kill the Sherman.
killed him.
Yeah, that really slowed me down on this side because I was just going to keep driving, and with 2 squads of veteran infantry and a Sherman, we would have got that, but that T-34 put an end to that. My MVP probably would be the Sherman, even though he died. He still killed that truck. He killed a mortar.
Officer.
He killed an officer.
Team of Siberians.
He put bunch of pins out. So probably him. No one else really did much. Engineers killed those Siberians, but there was only 3 of them. And then these guys were pinned down, so they couldn't really do anything anyway. But overall, it was a fun game. A lot of movement. We had Russians all the way back to my board edge. I had guys all the way over there. Some tank combat. We had some hand-to-hand fighting. So this is a good mission. It promotes, movement. It's not like the missions with the objective in the middle where everyone just kind of congregates there. This is kind of spread out on the board, so it's just a good mission for this game because it just promotes forcing you to move towards the objective, and you have to defend yours, they have to defend theirs. So overall, it's a good mission. It's a fun game. So that'll do it for battle report number 9, and we'll be back next time when we do battle report number 10.